think that's gonna stay. So I figured I would go ahead and get one of my video contributions out of the way. So for our Unit 2 discussion, our first question is, how does Oedipus show participatory democracy? So I think the biggest example of this is right at the beginning of the show. A lot of the citizens of Thebes have gathered around the palace to talk to Oedipus about how, you know, they're suffering from this plague and, you know, something needs to be done about it. I think that just shows that the citizens have a lot of say in their government. So where do you see competition? So right away, I mean, the fact that Oedipus is even in power shows competition because he, you know, defeated the Sphinx by like solving her riddle and proved himself to be worthy over anyone else who attempted to solve the riddle. Also, the way in which Oedipus actually killed his dad. So I have always kind of been confused. I know that like his dad tried to like run him down. So I did a little more research on that because just from the reading I have always had trouble. I've read this play a few times. I've always kind of had trouble understanding what specifically happened. So from what I've read, it sounds like they both were coming down the road at the same time where the roads meet. And it was almost kind of like a race to see who would get there first. And then, you know, his dad almost ran him over. And so Oedipus killed him. So that was kind of, you know, a competition right there. So where do we see religion, and then specifically order and chaos, these two kind of conflicting ideas? So, I mean, Oedipus this whole time is wanting to appease the gods to end this plague. So I know in our lecture we talked about how, you know, the gods were viewed as kind of imperfect beings, and that's kind of chaotic. And Oedipus is trying to kind of restore order by appeasing them. So yeah, so order is shown by Oedipus trying to kind of return balance. So he wants this killer who's done this wrong thing is out and about, or, you know, so he thinks, and to kind of return that order, he's got to, you know, kill him or banish him. You know, and there's this whole running theme of like fate. You know, like your destiny is your destiny and you can't really change it. So that kind of shows this idea of order. And then there's a lot of chaos in this show. I mean, he kills his dad, he marries his mom, then he stabs himself in the eyes, and, you know, Jocasta hangs herself, and a lot of chaos going on because things are out of balance. So it kind of shows those two conflicting ideas together. There's this really great quote that Jocasta says that I think shows this, you know, chaos, and that's fear. What has man to do with fear? It's all chance. Chance rules over our lives. Not a man on earth can see a day ahead, groping through the dark. Better to live at random, best we can. So, I mean, I think you can definitely see, you know, the chaos reflected in that quote. And then our last question is, how does Oedipus favor stylization over realism? And this question was kind of confusing to me. I kind of struggled to come up with an answer on this one, but I think the main thing is the use of the chorus, and how, you know, they're interjecting throughout the course of the action, and interacting with the characters, whereas in like a realistic sense you wouldn't have, you know, a large group of people with you all the time to talk to. And then also, from what I understand, they would be singing these parts throughout the show. So yeah, that's also not very realistic. We don't exactly know how this show was put on originally. We talked a lot about that in the lecture, how there's a lot of uncertainty about ancient Greece and the shows that happened then, and people take like drastic leaps to kind of put that together, their idea of what happened and how it went, when really there's not a lot of evidence for that. So yeah, that was kind of why I was a little bit confused with that question, but yeah.